Hi, today I've got a show-off slash review of the Aeon Pro X, specifically with Brooklyn Tony 198's APX 24 DMR kit. Link to the kit will of course be in the description. It's a printables page, so yeah, no physical item, you need a printer to make this. But yeah, if you're on this channel without a 3D printer available, it's probably also, yeah, not really your kind of content anyway. Good, before I get to the kit, I'm gonna go over my own parts. The kit had a delete for the bottom rail. I wanted to keep my bottom rail, so I remixed this part that I found on printables just to be a bit longer, and to hold this work a Swift barrel. The Swift came with two barrels, this is just a shorter one of those. Fits very well with the plunger volume in here. And with a small space of about 10 millimeters back in there, it hits about 210 FPS. Pretty good. Right, now for the actual kit. It uses a little bit of already existing hardware, like the screws that the original slide was attached with. And yeah, otherwise it only needs a little bit of M2, M3. I saw some M5 bolts. I don't think it had M4. But yeah, it all is listed on Brooklyn Tony's printables page, so you can source all those hardware things fairly easily. I was too impatient to do that, so I just improvised a whole lot. So this thing is basically made of M4 bolts and heatset inserts. But that worked out, so if you can improvise, you may be able to get it to work without buying a new set of screws. So why even turn the Aeon Pro into this? In the stock version, the Aeon Pro is already pretty big, but yeah, with this little barrel, the plunger volume is kind of wasted. So you want to use a longer barrel. With the longer barrel, if you're not using a big shroud like that, that blast is already this long at a minimum, and it kind of loses its pistol character there. So yeah, why not go fully in and turn it into a DMR, or something like that. Brooklyn Tony probably thought. So I really like the side prime. It looks really cool. Also, the delete of the top rail gives it a lot of rail real estate in a place where you actually need it. Who shoulders a blaster like that and has the sight all the way in the front here? The sight is going to be tiny to look through, especially with red dots where you want it to be kind of closer to your face so you can use that dot somewhat better. So you have it in more of your field of view, I suppose. I'm not an expert on these things. It just happens to work very well for me. Stability. I was originally worried a little bit about the stability of the dust cover here, because it's basically only screwed in with a bolt back here that mounts with the stock. Also, if you're gonna use the top cover, you need the stock. They just go together. The stock can be used individually, the front end can be used individually. The top cover cannot be used individually, which is a bit of a bummer because I'm not quite a fan of the stock, but we'll get to that. It works really well as a heads up, so if you like that style of stock, that's a perfect stock. But yeah, you need it as a mount point for the top rail. I was worried because it only had these 2 points, but turns out it's really solid. I was really surprised. It just clicks on and then grabs into something. I suppose there's a little notch here on the shell of the Aeon. The slide lock is under there somewhere. And it kind of grabs into that and then screws in from the back. So it kind of clamps here. So yeah, really solid. It's not flying off, no way. So yeah, that's really good. The back here is a folding stock, and yeah, my only criticism about this is it looks a little bit flimsy for the roll of the blaster. Like, I don't think a DMR would have a more like assault rifle style stock. Like, you see these stocks on these shorter things where you need good handling, but I don't think you need good handling on a DMR, so it's just a looks thing. It works really well. It's also printed in a very good orientation, so the bottom is here, so that you have all these really nice layers that keep this thing really sturdy. So that was awkward, but yeah, it's stable, is what I want to say with that. Slightly, the folding mechanism also works really well. Mine is improvised out of some random screw, a bunch of washers, and a heatset insert, so you can get away with a lot of, well, improvisation. Slides well. Now to my point, why a folding stock at all? With this thing, if the stock is folded in, priming becomes really awkward. Like with the original thing, you would just go up here and rack it, fairly easy. If it's in my right hand, I would have to reach around like that, or hold it here, keep it firm somewhere here, and then pull it back here, which torques the whole blaster a lot. So it's all in all, it's a bit awkward to prime without a stock. Really easy to prime with the stock. With the stock, this thing is really good if it's folded out, but if it's folded in, I don't quite see the point, except if it maybe, which this thing doesn't have, had a sling point here or somewhere, so I could fold the stock in, keep it on a 2-point sling, and then use my sidearm. That would be the reason for a folding stock for me. But otherwise, yeah, functionally it's good. Works really well, looks fairly cool, and I'm gonna shoot a little bit with it. So I put this cheap optic on here. I didn't really sight it, but I'm hoping I can hit the spatula that's in my dart catcher over there. So priming like that into your shoulder is really easy. And the whole thing is really comfy. You can not really rattle off shots that easily, but because you need to like re-sight all the time. But I don't think that's the point of a DMR. So it does its job really well. This bolt is also very stable. I haven't had any stress marks or anything from it, so I don't expect this thing to break anytime soon. So good execution of that. But yeah, to illustrate my point about the blaster being hard to prime like that, if I hold it in the front here, I could barely prime it. If I hold it like this and reach around, it's okay. Where it works kind of well is if I hold it in my left hand, I could probably also slam fire like that fairly easily. But a bit awkward to hold a blaster in your offhand if you're a right-handed shooter. But yeah, I just use it with the stock and it does its job really well with that. Okay, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, shout out to Brooklyn Tony. I'll be linking the page on printables that he has down in the description. Go there, download it, give him good comments and stuff. It's a really good kit, so yeah, I encourage you to build it. I honestly like this thing more than most of my pump action blasters now, so yeah, it's really fun. Good, that is it. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll be seeing you if I ever get around to building another stringer. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.